Amid the gods of Norse mythology, there is a being whose name evokes both admiration and fear: Loki. Known for his cunning and betrayals, he walks the fine line between good and evil. But what drives a god to betray his own kind? The very gods themselves. Today, we will delve into the most shocking story of all: Loki's betrayal and the events that led to his eternal punishment. But before we reach the climax of this tale, we need to understand who Loki is and how he became such a controversial figure among the gods. Loki is not an ordinary god. He is a master of illusions, a being whose intelligence and cunning are as sharp as a blade. He can make us laugh with his tricks, but also make us tremble with his betrayals. A friend and enemy in equal measure, he embodies chaos and the duality of existence. Get ready for a fascinating journey through the realms of Norse mythology. We will discover how Loki, the trickster god, went from a clever ally to a feared traitor, and what led the gods to finally decide that he must pay the highest price for his actions. From the beginning, Loki stood out among the gods. His ability to shapeshift and manipulate fate made him a valuable ally, but also an unpredictable one. His early pranks were met with suspicion, but often ended up helping the gods in unexpected ways. For example, it was Loki who helped build the walls of Asgard, deceiving a giant builder to ensure the city's protection without paying the agreed price. However, his mischief didn't stop there. He stole, lied, and manipulated, always with a cunning smile on his face. Over time, these actions created tension. What was initially seen as help became a burden. The gods began to distrust him more and more, realizing that his tricks were becoming dangerous. Each new scheme from Loki seemed bolder than the last, testing the gods' patience. Thus, the seed of distrust was planted. The gods were always on high alert, waiting for Loki's next move. But even they could not predict how far he would go in his quest for chaos and amusement. Balder, the god of light and purity, was loved by all. His presence brought joy and peace, and his invulnerability was a source of pride among the gods. However, a dark prophecy foretold his death, casting a shadow over Asgard. The gods did everything they could to protect Balder. His mother, Frigga, asked all things in the world not to harm him. But one thing was overlooked: mistletoe. And that's where Loki found his opportunity. With his cunning, Loki made an arrow from mistletoe and gave it to Balder's blind brother, Hod. During a game, he guided Hod to shoot the arrow, resulting in Balder's death. The impact was devastating. The gods, in shock and sorrow, realized the extent of Loki's betrayal. Balder, the purest and most beloved among them, was dead because of a cruel prank. This act wasn't just mischief. It was a brutal betrayal that the gods could not forgive. After Balder's death, Asgard was engulfed in sorrow and anger. The gods were determined to find the culprit. Knowing suspicion would fall on him, Loki used his shape-shifting abilities to disguise himself and hide his identity. The gods, led by Odin, launched a relentless investigation. They discovered the truth about the mistletoe arrow and Loki's role in Balder's death. The gods' fury was palpable. They felt betrayed by someone they considered part of their family. Confronted by the gods, Loki tried to justify his actions. But the evidence was clear, and the pain of losing Balder was too deep. The gods decided that Loki had to pay for his unforgivable act. With his betrayal revealed, Loki knew the gods would never forgive him. Desperate, he fled from Asgard, using his shape-shifting abilities to hide in the most remote places of the 9 realms. He transformed into fish, birds, and even an old woman to escape the divine wrath. The gods, led by Thor and Odin, were determined to capture him. They scoured every corner of the world in a relentless hunt. The chase was intense, with Loki using all his cunning to escape, but the gods' determination was unwavering. Finally, Loki was found in a remote cave. Even in his last moments of freedom, he tried to deceive his pursuers but failed. Thor, with his unmatched strength, subdued Loki, ending his desperate flight. The gods brought him back to Asgard, where his punishment would be decided. Loki's capture marked the end of his escape and the beginning of a punishment that would be etched in the history of Norse mythology. Back in Asgard, the gods were determined to punish Loki in an exemplary manner. He was taken to a deep cave, where the gods bound him with the entrails of his own son, transformed into indestructible chains. Above Loki, a venomous serpent was placed to drip poison continuously onto his face. His wife, Sigyn, stood by his side, holding a bowl to catch the venom. However, whenever she had to empty the bowl, the poison would fall on Loki, causing him unbearable pain. His screams of agony made the earth tremble. This punishment was a powerful symbol. The entrails of his son represented the destruction Loki brought to his own family, and the continuous poison symbolized the bitterness of his actions. Loki, the trickster god, was now condemned to eternal suffering for his betrayal. Loki, imprisoned and tormented, became a symbol of betrayal and its terrible consequences. His punishment reminded both gods and mortals that selfish actions lead to painful outcomes. But Loki's story is more than just punishment. It reveals the complexity of both human and divine nature, the balance between chaos and order. Even in his suffering, Loki was essential to the cosmos of the Norse gods. His legacy teaches about the limits of cunning and the inevitable consequences of our actions. Loki's story makes us reflect on the duality of existence and the importance of making just choices. The myth of Loki remains alive, an eternal lesson about responsibility and the power of actions. Thus, Loki continues to be a fascinating figure and a warning for all generations. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment on what you thought of the video and suggest new topics. Your participation is essential for us to bring you even better content. See you in the next video. Bye.